Bitcoin has just opened a candle above the 7-day Gaussian channel midline. Could this trigger the next move toward the upside? Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. We're here to discuss Bitcoin's price action on the macro chart, focusing on our technical indicators and price action analysis. We'll also go over market data, traditional markets, and so much more. Remember to smash the like button, hit the comment button, and subscribe to the channel for daily videos on Bitcoin. We focus on the objective facts of the charts, the price action, the probabilities, and the data. No emotion, no hype, no shilling, only pure facts. You can also find us on Telegram, guys. That will be the second link down below. You'll get access to charts, videos, analysis, information, news events, updates, educational posts, and so much more in here, guys. You can also join us on the VIP channel. We post trading signals with specific entries, targets, stop losses, etc., etc. We also do short-term scalps and long-term spot positions. You can find our entire trading track record since 2021 over here. And of course, you'll get access to two groups. Not only will you get access to the main group chat where we post all of our trades, but also our exclusive VIP member group chat who discuss between each other different trades, charts, news events, and so much more. So a lot of value there, guys. Go ahead and contact me for more information. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Now, of course, Bitcoin's price action over the last couple days has still been a little bit indecisive. There is still a massive chunk of resistance sitting directly above us, which is at $28,000 to $30,000 resistance. Now, this resistance is a absolutely crucial resistance we do need to break above to see any sort of continuation upwards. There's a couple of things I want to discuss in today's video, starting off again with this massive resistance. I want to go over the macro charts. I want to talk about the Gaussian channel break, as we have seen a candle close above the Gaussian channel midline, or should I say open, which is absolutely massive. And of course, the RSI trend lines on the weekly chart. And we have seen a few different points of confluence on the RSI in the past, and we can apply that to the present to make some possible predictions. Before we do get into it, let's start off the market data and traditional markets. So currently, guys, for the month, and we're very close to the end of March now, we're only a couple days out, about 5 or 6 days out, we are 19.22%. It'll be very interesting to see how the month closes, whether we actually push above 30,000 or whether we actually close below 30, because if you do remember, $30,000 is the main resistance, we'll come back to in a second, that we need to break above this horizontal red line on the monthly chart to actually get a confirmation of a higher time frame continuation that will develop into a bull run. Remember, guys, if you remember back to that chart we showed you on Telegram, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up really quickly. Give me 1 second. It was the zone chart. Remember, we were discussing the different zones, and we talked about how some zones were neutral, some zones were bullish, some zones were basically incredibly bullish and essentially put us into a bull run. Well, if we look at the $30,000 zone, I'll bring it up in just 1 second, we can see that above $30,000, right over here, we're in this very bullish territory. This is very bullish territory, meaning we're having increased volatility, increased price action. We have historical moving averages underneath the price action, and of course, we're in a position based on historical data that would facilitate the development of a bull run structure forming. So currently we are still in that bullish territory. We're above our 265-day resistance, 256-day resistance, sorry. We're above that major support, and we've actually flipped this entire zone below us. You look in the VIPV, this entire region below us here now is actually quite strong support. So we have made a solid move toward the upside. However, guys, until we break above that 30K resistance, we aren't really in that bull run phase yet, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. Moving back to the data, we can see volume has been dropping over the last few days. Ever since FOMC, ever since we saw that strong move, rejection, and FOMC release, ever since around over here, we have been seeing volume drop. We have been seeing less and less trades occur within the market. We have seen people kind of a little bit more disheartened with crypto at the moment. Of course, that is generally quite standard after what we had was such a phenomenal rally towards the upside, such clear, such awesome trading conditions, and then that quickly turned toward the downside. We saw, more manipulation, more artificial price propping by exchanges. The trading conditions kind of went down, and now more and more people are kind of waiting for that next move before getting back into the markets as much. And the volume dropping 50%, and of course volatility dropping down as per liquidations are again a result of that. We do also have to consider it is the weekend. And generally volume and volatility does drop on the weekend, but a 50% reduction down to about 56 million is the lowest we have seen over the last couple of weeks, including the last few weekends. Looking at overall liquidations, guys, within the last 24-hour period, again, our liquidations are still quite spread. We're seeing longs, we're seeing shorts liquidate. We did see a period where a lot more longs did liquidate as Bitcoin did take quite a little drop toward the downside. We saw a few liquidation candles over here. We have seen this overall downtrend actually develop, and we'll discuss that when we get into our short-term analysis. Moving on to the DXY, guys, we can see the DXY has rallied back upwards. It retested that major daily resistance at 103 to 103.5, a huge trigger zone, a zone that DXY doesn't need to break above to see a continuation upwards. If we draw our trend lines in here, we can see a possible descending channel forming on the DXY, which would indicate a possible reversal and break upwards into the coming week. And now I'm going to go ahead and say I do not expect too much price action in the market over this weekend. I don't expect too much to occur, maybe a bit of fluctuation up, maybe a bit of fluctuation down. But while we're under resistance, the trend is forming a downtrend now in the short term. We do expect a continuation downwards until we are proven wrong, until that resistance breaks and until 30K is reclaimed on the higher time frame. And we'll discuss the probabilities of that with our technical analysis today. However, the DXY showing a descending channel is a potential bullish sign for the dollar and could trigger a small continuation upwards, which of course would bring the stock market down. However, the stock market is starting to look okay, right? We're seeing bounces on our bear market resistance. This is our bear market resistance. We're seeing a nice little bounce over here. Again, not looking at anything too fancy over here on the Dow Jones unless we start reclaiming some of these local highs. The key level we need to break above is going to be 34,400. This local high over here to result in a continuation upwards. Any sort of breakdown over here could take us back to that $30,000 level. However, right now, as of now, we do expect a bounce as this is going to be support. Looking at the S&P 500, a similar thing has occurred over the last couple of days. We saw a short-term bearish structure developing, right? We saw this rising channel developing on the daily chart. We actually broke down on that rising channel after printing a gravestone doji, so quite a bearish candle on a daily. We broke toward the downside and then we saw a rally back up to 4,000. Again, a lot of indecision here in the markets. Long wicks, heaps of long wicks in the last few days. And again, these long wicks represent shifts in trend, and these shifts in trend generally come at major points and do reflect overall indecision. So let's go ahead and jump into the Bitcoin chart, guys. I'm going to go ahead today and start on the higher time frames and build it down to the smaller time frames. We'll start with that macro chart. We'll start to about 30,000 and then we'll come down. So why is 30,000 so important? I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss my favorite exchange, Bitget. If you're looking for a safe, honest, reliable, and accurate exchange, look no further than Bitget. You can sign up by the link in the description to support the channel and get access to 3 exclusive perks. That being up to $5,005 in trading rewards, up to 15% discount on your trading fees, and exclusive access to our MegaWhale promotion campaigns that we run every few months. Alongside that, guys, Bitget is a non-KYC exchange, meaning you do not have to KYC. It is completely optional. Bitget also has a protection fund that secures user assets against external hacks and threats in the space. Alongside that, guys, Bitget offers up to 125x leverage on futures with extensive amount of trading pairs and liquidity on the market. I highly recommend signing up to Bitget. It is the exchange I've been using for over a year and a half now, including all of our members. If you're interested in signing up, trading there, and supporting the channel, you can do so with the link in the description. Thanks for listening. So, like we said before, 30,000 is going to be, and I want to drill this into everyone's minds one last time. 30,000 is the major bull market trigger resistance. In prior cycles, okay, it's our 4-year cycle. In prior cycles, every single time we have seen a monthly candle close above the prior yearly low, okay, the prior yearly low of the prior bull run, we never, ever see a monthly candle close back below it. So assuming we go off that logic again, $30,000 is going to be a higher time frame trigger for a monthly candle close to facilitate a uptrend over the next, we're looking at 18 to like 30 months. Okay, so going off the prior 4-year cycle, a break of a monthly candle above 30,000 would facilitate that macro uptrend, that bull market to begin to develop. That doesn't mean we're just going to rally right into a bull market straight away. No, it takes a lot of time. okay, it takes time to develop, that is going to be the key price point, the key horizontal trigger, the shift in price action on the macro we're looking for. So 30,000 is by far and large one of the most significant and important horizontal triggers on the Bitcoin chart to date, okay? As you can see, while we are at resistance, resistance is going to still be resistance, and we'll come and talk about it on the short term in a second. Anything below this point, we do expect retracement. So right now we are at resistance, and we do expect again resistance to be acting as a resistance. If you flip the chart, you can see it is support. Expecting bounces from this level towards these next support levels is anticipated and is what is expected from the market right now, unless we get that monthly candle close above 30,000 and break through this major resistance. We are expecting developments of downtrends to occur here, which we are currently seeing in the short term, to actually take us back to retest some of these low levels, 25.2, 24.4. If we lose this trigger level over here, if we lose the support, that is when we enter that decision phase again. So looking back at this chart over here, we can see if we lose that 24.4 to 25.2, we enter that healthy correction / decision zone again. We don't look as bullish as if we remain above 25.2, okay? Let's go ahead and talk about this chart over here. So as we can see, guys, Bitcoin has just broken kind of over that midline on the weekly chart, right? We've opened up this candle on the weekly chart above the midline. We've got about 20 hours and 55 minutes left on this candle. I actually want to show you guys on this chart instead. It's a little bit of a larger chart. We'll bring up the gaussian channel over here, and the gaussian channel is a really good tool for predicting overall shifts in trend, particularly on the macro chart. But more importantly, it's a great tool at predicting the current trend. So as we can see on this chart, actually, it looks like we are underneath it on the weekly chart. That is a little bit odd. Let's go back to this chart, 7-day chart. So on the weekly chart, it looks like we are underneath it, guys. If we go to that 7-day chart, it looks like we are currently actually above it. Again, they do average out a little bit different across different time frames and across different charts. We can see on the Brave New Coin Liquid Index, we're sitting around 27,490. On this Bitget chart, we're sitting around 27,579. Again, they don't update perfectly, as a Brave New Coin Liquid Index chart only updates every 24 hours. So we'll have to go off this chart. As we're going to see, the price action is sitting just above that midline. But we'll use this chart to talk about why it's important. If we go to the weekly chart, guys, and we look at the midline on the weekly chart, particularly the midline after we have printed this red channel. So we look at 3 instances are going to be over here, okay? We went from green to red, we went from green to red, and now we've gone from green to red. These are our green channels. And if we look at the crossover points on the midline within these phases, we can see every single time, guys, we cross over a weekly candle on the midline, we actually end up going into a macro uptrend, and eventually the channel flips to green. We can see this has happened in 2015. We can see that happened again over here, guys. We crossed over, we went into an uptrend, the channel went green, and we went into this macro uptrend again. We only dropped below was the COVID crash. If the COVID crash didn't happen, the price would never, ever would have gone below that lower trend line on that gaussian channel again. And finally over here, guys, we can see we're actually currently retesting that now as a resistance. It would be great to see our weekly candle close above that point there, but if we do reject, we can come back down. But if we do close over, going off historical price action, we will eventually expect the price to push upwards, the channel to turn green, and again, that would trigger the 30K break over, and that would trigger a continuation and macro uptrend. So a very crucial point for Bitcoin right now. We can see a lot of key levels, a lot of key confluences lining up, showing us that 30,000 is a major resistance and a level we do want to be looking out for. So look at the gaussian channel over here on the weekly chart. Keep an eye on the weekly chart. If we get that weekly close above, guys, above that midline, that could be a strong indication we are going to see the price push above 30,000. Another really strong indication we are seeing here, guys, on the weekly chart for Bitcoin over here, we can see that we have a particular trend line on the RSI. I'm going to go ahead and delete these little drawings in here just so I can make it a little bit more clear. The RSI is a great tool of predicting momentum. Now, there's a particular trend line on RSI horizontal level, which is going to be sitting at around, I think it's around 62.11. I'm going to try get it perfectly or as close to it as you can. I'll draw it in a little bit. It's sitting around about over here. So 62.11 level. Every single time we get the RSI breaking above the 62.11 level, we can see the price actually moves upwards. It shifts. Vice versa, every time we go from above the 62.11 to below it, the price ends up shifting and correcting toward the downside. I'm going to show you on the chart. Let's take a look at this part over here. Breaking above that 62 pip level on the RSI over here on that weekly chart, we can see that we had a significant shift toward the upside. You can see that trend over here, this red line, and we can see on the green line, that horizontal line, we can see we had a significant shift toward the upside. Let's go ahead and draw an arrow in. Okay, moving forward, we had a green cross over here on the 62.11 on the RSI. We saw a significant rally. Now, it doesn't look like a significant rally because we're so zoomed in, but if we actually zoom inwards and we draw that trend line where we actually broke upwards, it was about a 30 to 40% rally, and that is a significant rally for Bitcoin, right? It looks small because of how large we are and how small that price action was there, but it actually was quite a significant rally. Let's go again. We broke over once more over here. We saw a strong rally towards upside on RSI, and we saw the price enter a macro bull market. Again, this is not going to be a trigger for a bull market. The cross of the 62 is not a trigger for a bull market, but it coincidentally occurred at the same time we actually broke over that bull market trigger, which was that massive resistance we faced over here, which again was that bull market trigger for the 2018, 2019, and 2021 bull market. Okay, moving up from there, we can see once more in September 2021, we saw another green crossover. We ended up seeing a decent little rally for Bitcoin, and finally we are seeing that green crossover now. We actually saw a green crossover about a week ago. That occurred during this strong green candle. We saw a push toward the upside. However, we are now facing that resistance. This is added. This is an added piece of data to show you guys, if we do push above 30,000, we're going to have another point of confluence on the RSI in the higher time frame in terms of horizontal resistance levels or horizontal shifting points on the momentum that could facilitate a macro uptrend to develop. Let's take a look at the red levels. Every time, guys, we actually break back below this horizontal trend on the RSI 61.22, we end up going downwards. So we saw a nice little drop over here. Again, it doesn't look like a big drop, but at the time it was a big drop. This is a 18% crash for Bitcoin. That is quite a large drop for a 1 week candle. Furthermore, over here, we saw in April 2021, we saw that print and we saw a continuation of 50, 60, or 50% toward the downside. Even more, guys, look at this one over here. November 2021, the bear market, we saw a crossover in the weekly and we ended up going all the way back down. So this level on the RSI is quite a significant level to be looking out for. So guys, there are two major indicators I want you guys to keep your eyes on over the next few days, particularly over this monthly close and the weekly close. These indicators are showing us some mixed signals. What I mean by that is the indicators are starting to flip macro bullish while the price is still under major price trigger points on the macro chart, being that 30K level. If we get confluence of both indicators and price action, we generally get a confidence trend. Right now, we do not have confluence. We do not have agreement between the indicators and price action. We're still in a phase of indecision of whether or not we're going to break above 30,000 or whether or not we're going to reject and these indicators are going to flip to bearish, meaning if the price actually pushes down here, this RSI trend line 62 will print a red candle, okay, it will print a red sell signal and the price will come down. If the price doesn't break above 30,000, looking at the Gaussian channel, we will actually reject from the midline and we could potentially see something like we saw back in 2015. If we go to, where was it? Or maybe it's a different chart. We could see a rejection from the midline on that Gaussian channel and a continuation toward the downside. So these are things to consider, guys, as this is quite an important time. Let's go ahead and talk about the short-term price action and then we'll finish up with the video. So let's delete all this stuff on the chart, go down to an hourly price action and discuss what is happening. So as we can see, guys, we saw a whole heap of price action. We had the FOMC crash right over here. That was FOMC. Then we had Binance. Then we had an announcement from the US government, basically talking about Bitcoin in a positive light. They said that Bitcoin mining could potentially be beneficial for energy regulation or energy production or whatever. What it said in the future. So talking about Bitcoin in a positive light, and we haven't really seen the US government actually talk about Bitcoin, let alone Bitcoin mining in a positive light before, and the market really uptook that positively and saw a massive rally. However, that massive rally led to a double top. If you remember our video from 2 days ago, we said we are potentially double topped here. We're looking for pullbacks. Our targets were of course 28,000, which we reached, nice 2% pullback. Our next target was of course 27,000, which we reached. So we saw exactly a 5.72% pullback from our short target, which was absolutely perfect. So if you took that short and you took that trade, congratulations, some massive profits. We have seen the price now kind of stabilize. We are forming a decent base of support around this level. Again, these local lows over here are now testing a support. And we do not expect any sort of strong continuation downwards from here unless we lose this local low at around 27,100, and then we expect these gaps to fill. If we lose this 27.1 level, we do expect continuations down towards these gaps. So we're looking at our next targets, 26,400-ish. We're looking at 25,200 to 25,600. Of course, if we push into this range, potentially 24,400. However, that is quite unlikely. Until then, guys, the short term does look like it is bouncing a little bit. We're looking for fills within these low volume ranges, so potential resistance levels are going to be in that VRPV gap over here. We're looking for a push up to this level over here, potentially looking for a rejection at that point for a continuation back down. Ideal scenario here, guys, for a continuation downwards would be a push up, a liquidation, and continuation downwards. However, if we do break above this level, we will be taking a shot at 28,000 again. Again, another major resistance. If we break over 28,000, particularly this POC level, we could see a rally back toward the upside. I would still be looking for a downtrend to develop, and I still expect a downtrend to develop unless this scenario here plays out, which is going to be a break over 28.1. So until 28.1 breaks, expect the prices to come down. Look for charts that show some confluence. Look for some low risk entries on some longs here. Look for some nice confluence breakdowns on some shorts. Right now, I would definitely be hedging myself both ways. So it's just so much indecision, okay? If you've been following the channel, you would have your spot long bags on Bitcoin sitting 16.5, 18K, and 19.2K. Right now is a good chance to be hedging against your spot positions in case we see higher time frame breakdowns. So look for potential shorts, okay? Look for potential longs. You're definitely playing both sides of the field while we have this overall indecision. Anyway, guys, I'll leave the video there. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Find us on cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. You can contact us for our 10-unit course. We'll send you all the information, and of course, we'll see you guys tomorrow.